Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I have a video for you guys where I'm going to talk about something that I don't normally talk about. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever really talked about this subject on my channel at all. But we're going to be talking about Lord of the Rings. Now, just to give you guys some context, I am a fan of Lord of the Rings. However, I wouldn't call myself a big, hardcore fan of Lord of the Rings. To me, I've only ever seen the movies. I know, shame on me, but I do plan to read the books. I do definitely have plans to read the books. But for me, just keep in mind, I am a Lord of the Rings normie. I've only ever seen the movies. I've seen them multiple times. But I have seen the movies and I have seen The Hobbit just once. You know why. Even though I do kind of enjoy them for what they are. I know they're nowhere near as good as the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but I kind of enjoy them for what they are. Except for the last movie. You know, the last movie was just bad. So I am a Lord of the Rings fan. Now I do want to talk to you about this. What's happened, I guess you could say, on social media with a Lord of the Rings fan site. Well, maybe not anymore. But what used to be a website that was for Lord of the Rings fans, a place where Lord of the Rings fans can go to get information on basically anything Lord of the Rings. They have decided to go the route of Access Media. Now, what do I mean by that? They basically decided to throw their fans under the bus for, I mean, you don't need me to tell you. If you've been paying attention for a while, you already know why. They did it for access. Now, why did they do this? Well, in case you don't know, there is supposed to be a prequel series put out by Amazon that is supposed to be, if I remember correctly, going to elaborate on what happened during the Second Age of Lord of the Rings, which if I have my history right, it's supposed to be covered in the Silmarillion, where the Silmarillion is supposed to tell you, it's basically supposed to be a history book telling you what happened during the Second Age of Middle Earth. And that's the what the story of the prequel series is supposed to be about. And a lot of people were worried that, considering we were living in modern day, they were worried that they were going to completely twist Tolkien's work just to fit whatever agenda that they have. Now, people who are worried about that are right to be worried, because we've seen this happen multiple times to multiple other properties. And the thing is, it's always failed. Look at what happened with Star Wars. Star Wars was taken over by a bunch of people who didn't see Star Wars as Star Wars. It was taken over by people who only saw Star Wars as a platform to push whatever message they wanted to push. Now, if they wanted to do that by telling us a great, well-written story, then okay, no one would have cared. Because no one cares what your message are, as long as it's put in a great, well-written story with great characters. But the thing is, that's not what happened. They put out one-dimensional, flat characters that nobody liked, and in the process completely destroyed the characters that we already loved, characters that were already established. And that's why people are worried with the prequel series. However, the OneRing.net decided to come out and said, you know what? We want to keep our access. So we decided, let's just throw all of our fans under the bus. Let's just throw all of them under the bus. Now, they decided to release this Twitter thread. Now, I'm not going to go through all of it because I want to save your brain cells. But basically, it's all about them saying, oh, we have been dealing with a bunch of homophobic, bigoted comments for years, and they somehow dragged Ian McKellen's name into this. Now, if you have been a Lord of the Rings fan for as long as I have, you will know that you've probably never heard a single person even mention Ian McKellen's sexuality. I don't think, in fact, I'm pretty confident in saying that you've probably never heard a single person even mention Ian McKellen's sexuality. In fact, I personally did not even know that Ian McKellen was gay when I watched the films. I didn't even know he was. You want to know why? Because it doesn't fucking matter. Ian McKellen's sexuality, actually the sexuality of the entire cast never mattered, because it had nothing to do with the character that they played on screen. And Ian McKellen is a beloved actor. And people loved him as Gandalf the Grey, and then later on Gandalf the White. In fact, they loved him so much, I'm willing to bet they cannot see anyone else. In fact, no, they refuse to see anyone else play the character. No one else can play this character except Ian McKellen. That's how much people loved him. People still love him, actually. So, excuse me, sorry. Shame on me. People still love him as Gandalf. But these people, these assholes, decided to bring his name into this just to try to defend themselves. However, keep in mind, they said specifically that listen to what they said right here. Listen, keep this one in mind, we've been dealing with homophobic comments for decades, and it's still wrong. Whatever toxic arguments are being said now about Lord of the Rings fandom and adaptations is the same trash that said Ian McKellen was the worst affront to Tolkien's legacy ever. Here's the thing. Like I said, for years, I guarantee you not a single person said anything about Ian McKellen's sexuality. And by no one, I mean 99.9% of the people who watch Lord of the Rings. Yes, you're going to have one or two or six people, but that's going to happen with everything. That's not something that you can help. It's a sad fact, but it is a fact. It's a fact of the world that we live in. And again, it's a sad fact, but it's one we have to accept. But what's important is that the majority don't care about Ian McKellen's sexuality. Still don't. And the fact that these fuckers decided to bring his name into this just to hide behind it shows you the kind of people that they actually are, or at least the person running this fucking account. So they basically, again, decided to go on this long thread talking about how apparently Tolkien was woke and how he never cared about, apparently he was woke and how he never cared about people's sexualities. Yeah, here's the thing, no one does. No one cared. And they go on to say this, they post this picture, says Pride gave us some of the greatest performances of all time. And that's all this is really about. They know that because it's June, because it's Pride Month, this is the month where these corporations decide to come out and say, hey, we support gay people, but then the second Pride Month is over, you never hear about that ever again. And that in itself shows you just how fucking fake these people are. We've talked about this multiple times. These people are fake. They'll only support them on Pride Month because they know there's good marketing there. Because they know there are people out there who will consume whatever products that they put out as long as it's got the rainbow flag. But then the second Pride Month is over, you don't see it ever again. Until next year. And I actually have a video about that that should be out later in the day. I have a video about that should be out later in the day, but for now I'm going to focus on this. So yeah, they basically decided to go on this long they basically put out this word salad about how they've been getting a bunch of homophobic comics. Now, people, rightfully so, decided to look at this and say, okay, so listen, you said that you've been dealing with a bunch of homophobic comics for decades. So can you maybe provide us some receipts? Like, can you actually show us who these people are so we can call them out? Now, you guys already know where I'm going with this. Of course they didn't do that. Of course not. Now, Gary from Nerdrotic, whom I'm sure a lot of you probably know, decided to reply to this, and he said, and by the way, Gary is a big Lord of the Rings fan, by the way, and he knows way more about Lord of the Rings than I, and I'm sure a lot of people do. He said, that's strange. I was obsessively following every article, post, thread, and didn't see any of this. Maybe there was a couple, maybe a few, nothing worth taking seriously. This is how it begins. Throw fans under the bus for access. Disappointed, but not surprised in the least. Now, they decided to respond and said, ignorance does not preclude facts. Ian McKellen himself wrote on the subject. And he responds, I am aware of Ian McKellen's story, and we'll get to that in a second. You started this with, listen, he said, we've been dealing with homophobic comments for decades. Ian McKellen is an inspiration and universally loved. This is a fact. Instead of pointing that out, you chose the route of the straw man to get some attention. And they respond with straw man, Ian McKellen in his own words, and they decided to link to this, which we'll talk about in a second. You seem to have a lot of homophobes and racists in your replies with your misuse of straw man. Of course, they decided to throw the ists and the phobes as respond. Now, what's brilliant about this is that just some guy decided to respond to respond to this. It said, when they said ignorance does not preclude fact, Ian McKellen wrote on the subject. He responded with, "Are you talking about this?" And they replied with the same link. Some chat room 20 years ago. Come on, no one thinks Amazon's show will suck because the actors might be gay. People will think it'll suck because Amazon isn't going to respect the lore. And this is 100% true. This is 100% true. These people think that the reason why a lot of us are worried about, excuse me, about the show is that they're gonna hire a bunch of gay people and a bunch of trans people, a bunch of bisexual people. No. Here's the thing. Like we have said, no one gives a crap what your sexuality is. The problem is, like he said, you're not going to respect the lore. No one cares if the people themselves you hire are gay. What they care about is the characters in the story, in universe. That's what people care about. Now, the Wondering.net decided to respond to them. And I'm going to show you how they responded. And you'll see just some guy's response to that tweet, which they deleted, like the cowards that they actually are. Let's actually look at how they responded. Listen to this. And this was a screenshot taken from Nerdrotic. Now, look, this is what they said. Respect the lore, quote, exactly what just some guy said, is becoming coded language for racist perspectives on a text that, quote, never describes color. And we'll get to this part in a second. They said never describes color, and they basically called just some guy a racist. And then just some guy responds with, he says, yeah, I'm black, and I don't use coded language. I say exactly what I mean. Tolkien describes what the Eldar and the Edain look like multiple times in his book. I suggest you put down the phone and read the book, since apparently you never have. Mic drop. And then notice how they don't respond to him anymore. Interesting how they don't. But yeah, this is perfect. Yeah, boom. Sorry. Yeah, basically they decide, yeah, interestingly enough, they completely ignore him. They don't respond. In fact, like I said, they decided to delete the tweet like a bunch of cowards because they got caught. Because this is exactly what we have been saying about these people for years. They will accuse everyone who disagrees with them as being a bunch of racist and sexist, and they don't even realize that a bunch of the people they're calling racist and sexist are people of color, as they like to say, gay people, lesbians, bisexuals, asexuals, the intersexuals, asexuals, transsexuals. It's people from, the thing is, this is what's so great about Lord of the Rings. People from all walks of life love Lord of the Rings. It doesn't matter who you are. You want to know why they love Lord of the Rings? Because it was a great story that anyone can enjoy. Young, old, male, female, non-binary, doesn't matter. Anyone can sit down and enjoy Lord of the Rings. That's why when Amazon comes out and says that they're going to do a series, and why they're worried about it, everyone is worried about it. It's not just white people, as these fuckers try to say. They always try to paint this narrative like it's only white people who are worried about Lord of the Rings, who are worried about these franchises. And multiple times they keep getting proven wrong. Exactly like what happened here. They assumed, again, that just some guy was another white guy, and then immediately when he came out and said, hey, you guys know I'm black, they immediately decided to just leave. They ran like a bunch of cowards. They even deleted the tweet. Because that's exactly what they are. They're a bunch of cowards. Now, I want to talk about this for a second. So this is how you know these people are probably a bunch of phonies. So they said a racist perspective on a text that never describes color. Now, I want to just on this alone, I want to draw your attention to this. So this is from Lady Gravemaster. They just she put out this tweet in response to this. They decided to take part in a thread that was posted by this person named Anna Maria. Now, I know it's kind of let me see if I can zoom in for a second. No, okay, not that much. Whatever. Should have zoomed in before. Sorry about that. But anyway, they basically said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry it's not. I'm sorry it's not zoomed in. But they basically say, great thread that slams from a core misunderstanding on the word woke, its history, and its current weaponized usage. Now, they responded to this tweet where she basically goes on a rant about Tolkien calling him a racist. And really, Lady Gravemaster says, great thread. She literally calls Tolkien a racist shit. He fought in World War I. Talk about not knowing history, and quote, woke was weaponized from the get-go by the people who started it. This has blown up in your face, and you're proving you didn't know or respect Tolkien. And this is exactly 100% true. This is why we always try to tell you, don't listen to Access Media, don't listen to these corporations, because these are fake fans. They're a bunch of phonies. They don't actually like this property that they claim to enjoy. And do you want to know what's so interesting and why I said this relates to this and how it proves that they're again a bunch of phonies? Because one of the things that she accuses Tolkien of is how he explicitly describes the color of the people in his story, which by the way is normal because you want to give an accurate description of the character because you're doing it through text. It's not like a comic or a TV show or a movie where you can clearly see how the character looks like with your own eyes. No, this was done in text, which is why the author has to describe what the character looks like so the readers, us, can have a clear picture of them in our minds. And this is one thing that she actually accuses Tolkien of, saying how he apparently is a racist because he decided to explicitly describe how the characters look. And they decided to respond with great thread. But here you said it's a text that never describes color. So which is it, OneRing.net? Do you agree with this person who is accusing Tolkien of being a racist because he explicitly describes how the characters look like in his books? Or is it a text that never describes color? And you're trying to use that as an excuse to hire people who don't look like hire people who look nothing like the characters look like in the actual books. Which is it? Because it can't be both. And then more proof as to why these fuckers are a bunch of cowards. This is from Data Racer, the great Data Racer. Seriously, go give him a follow. So he decided to gather up a bunch of evidence, what these fuckers didn't do. And he basically brought up all of this. And he says the guy running the OneRing.net is a massive SJW. He's telling fans to, quote, ban the racist fascists from the Lord of the Rings fandom, specifically targeting YouTuber Nodrotic. The OneRing.net blocked YouTuber Just Some Guy and has lied twice, saying his screenshots are fake. SJWs always double down. And yes, so this is a collection of their tweets. It says, a new era of fandom with Amazon's Lord of the Rings Prime begins. We must be diligent in fending off the fascist influences that want to use Tolkien to create division. A more inclusive, beautifully diverse cast in Second Age is true to Tolkien's intent and maintains fidelity to Tolkien. Go fuck yourself, you fucking fake. And then look at this. It says Galadriel, being the main character, is woke and swearing the Lord of the Rings. Hey, buddy, your Gollum is showing. And then this person responds with, it's stupid no matter which way you read the misspelling, but that's what we're up against with a loud subset of, quote, fans. And yeah, he's calling them a bunch of fake fans. This fucking fake. Go fuck yourself, you phony. And yeah, basically they said, oh, listen to look at this gem. That's not what's being said, and you know that. There are some within the fan base that are taking that phrase and using it to say they don't like a casting, usually an actor and actress that are of color or in the LGBTQ. Like I said, no one gives a crap if the person is LGBTQ. No one gives a crap if they are of color. If they do, it's because it doesn't match what's being said in the books. Not because the person themselves is of color, but it's because it doesn't match, and it's clear that you are only hiring them because of their skin color. If anything, you're the racist because you are using that person's skin color as to virtue signal. Sorry if you can hear that in the background. Now, as always, guys, do not contact any of these people. Okay, seriously, just leave them alone. Just don't fall to their level. So this has to do with Just Some Guy. So it says, yeah, Just Some Guy, they blocked him because they're a bunch of cowards. After calling him a racist, they decided to block him after he basically told them that, you guys know I'm black. Yeah, they decided to block him because they're a bunch of cowards. And then they say that his screenshots are fake. And then Just Some Guy posted this tweet where he basically showed them that, you can easily take screenshots. You can easily take screenshot. Anyone can do it. And then he proceeds to actually show you on his actual screen that, yeah, you guys blocked him. And look at this. Look at these fuckers. He's lying. We never blocked him, but he's conveniently blocked us. But this screenshot is not from his account. Behold your king of the false flag strong. Go fuck yourselves, you fake fucks. And then look at this. Just want to confirm with everyone, we haven't blocked just some guy. His screenshot of the block is a fake, but we want to invite just some guy on the show. Oh, so now you want to invite him. Now you want to invite him. Where was this before you started all of this? Before you started calling them a bunch of fake fans? Before you started calling them a bunch of racists, homophobes, bigots, fascists? Where was all this before? But now, because you're trying to cover your ass, now you're trying to make it seem like you're adults who say, you know what, hey, maybe you guys could come on and we could talk about... No. Too fucking late. Too fucking late, you bunch of fake fucks. Too fucking late. You already showed people the kind of people you actually are. You're a bunch of phonies who don't respect Tolkien, you don't respect his world, you don't respect the lore, you don't respect the characters. You're just doing this for access, just like every other fucking website that's out there. They decided to sell their integrity so they could be the first to report on news coming out of Hollywood for clicks. And the biggest joke about this is that they're still trying to pass themselves off as a Lord of the Rings fan site. You don't care about fans. Who the fuck do you think you're fooling? Bunch of fakes. So anyway, guys, that's good. That's the video. I'm sorry if it was a little bit long. I had to talk about everything I wanted to talk about. But guys, as always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Remember to like the video, share the video if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't, click the bell icon for notifications, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.